Alright, so I was asked by a bunch of my commenters in my channel, in the YouTube comments, obviously, if I would do a response video on all the babble that's been going on lately about Kazuya. Kazuya seems to be the talk of the fucking town lately. It all started when, way long time ago in a faraway world once upon a time, it all started with Fighting GM's Twitch chat. A dude in the Twitch chat who seems to main Reina said a comment about Kazuya. He must have been spamming it in the chat or something, because it seemed to irritate Fighting GM. I like Fighting GM. First and foremost, I like the guy, and I think he's a fucking amazing Tekken player. But he did respond to the individual in the chat. I don't know the guy's name, so I'm just gonna say chat dude. He responded to chat dude, and he picked up Kazuya, put him in a practice mode, and was basically responding to what the guy was saying by demonstrating how easy Kazuya was in practice mode, right? And the player, as a Reina main, was saying that Kazuya is extremely hard, and he must have been spamming it. So there's the fucking the play-by-play right there. So GM does a practice mode endeavor where he goes in and he does some sloppy wave dashes and some dropped electrics and then explains how easy Kazuya is. First of all, he's already cleared up his name in a later video that he released responding to the main man's take on GM's initial take on Kazuya. GM legitimately actually said, he straight up admitted in that later video, the response to the main man, that he was basically just doing it to troll the guy and shut the dude up. Chat dude was pissing him off, and so he fucking went in there and was like, "You little bitch, here's how easy Kazuya is." Was, you know, trying to... So, in his defense, Fighting GM's defense, he doesn't think Kazuya is easy, right? That being said, there's still the idea that Kazuya is maybe not the hardest character in the game. Maybe there's a bunch of characters in the game harder to pilot than Kazuya. And all the Redditors and all the Discord people and the YouTubers that aren't YouTubers but the YouTube commenters are saying, a lot of them are jumping on the bandwagon now. You've got a character that's very, very popular in the community. He's gonna, as soon as you bring up his name with Kazuya, he's gonna fucking start some buzz. You've got a popular YouTuber with Fighting GM and a response from an even more popular, the biggest Tekken YouTuber with the main man. And fuck, it's become a shit show. Miirio has put his take in on this. I've got a few quotes from Miirio that I'd like to bring in a little bit here. But as well as Mrs. Playstuff is another Tekken YouTuber. By the way, congrats to you two with the engagement. Mrs. Playstuff and Miirio, fucking awesome job with that shit. Get married and stuff. But she's playing Kazuya right now, and I jump into her stream now and again when she plays Kazuya just to give her some pointers and help her out where I can. But she's, you know, she's sitting around Bushin Tekken King at the moment with Kazuya, even though she's got a God of Destruction Nina and a Tekken God Feng and all this shit, right? So Kazuya is very difficult to play. Let's first and foremost, okay, I have said this 1,000 times in my channel. I'll probably end up saying it 1,000 more times because people just don't seem to understand how crazy this character actually is to play. He requires so much from the opponent, or so much from the player, and very little from the opponent to counterplay the character. So what makes this character so difficult? Well, it's different at low level than it is at high level. I'm going to explain why he's hard, and then I'm going to just basically rant a little bit. Just like every other character in the game, pretty much. There are very low-level Kazuya players that are just starting out and just learning the game. They don't really know anything about the game yet, and they want to play Kazuya. Well, good fucking luck to you guys. I really admire your dedication, if that's the route you want to go right off the bat. But these Kazuya players get turned off right away by stuff like this. Just Hell Sweep. The Hell Sweep execution is tricky for some people. Not even... Like, a lot of people have struggled to do wave dashes, like that, right there, right? Wave dashing is very difficult to do, so sometimes you end up with like something like that, a really sloppy wave dash, you know? And, you have to be able to do it properly on both sides. So if you're doing this shit, you're not going to get very far. You have to be able to speed it up a little bit. So that's very difficult, because the more wave dashes you can get in, you need like 3 or 4 before you can realign with somebody who's sidestepping you, right? The other thing is, it's not necessarily the perfect electric that's part of Kazuya's game plan that you need to incorporate, but his electric is the most important tool in his entire repertoire. And it's a just frame that's fucking ridiculously hard to do, despite everybody seeming to think that it's not. Electric is the most important tool for Kazuya. He doesn't have a standard 13 frame down forward 1. He doesn't have a good jab. He doesn't have a down forward 2 that launches on normal hit. It only launches on counter hit. Right? So his down forward 2 is not an easy mode launcher. He has no 15 frame launcher. The closest thing he has to that is down forward 1-4 into Demon Steel Pedal, or down forward 1-4 into Stop. You know, that's the closest thing he has to a 15 frame launcher, and it's garbage. Like, that's not a launch. You're not going to get wall carry with that. You're not going to get wall combo or wall pressure with that. It's a 3-hit move and it's over, and that's it. That already makes Kazuya a cut above the rest. Here's a clip from Miirio to explain better how fucking, well, in his own words, privileged players are who use characters with easy mode 15 frame launchers like down forward 2 or up forward 4 with hopkicks and shit.
One of Jim's main things is that, oh, because you're so easy, all you gotta do is 50-50, electrics is not hard, wave dash is not hard, blah blah blah. And it's like, I get what he's saying, because electrics is not hard. Electrics is not hard, yeah? If you main Kazuya, electrics are not hard. It should not be hard for you. It is hard to learn, of course. If you've never done it, it's really hard to learn. But once you've learned them, it should be like riding a bike, you know? Like, at first it's hard, and then you can do it. The only thing I will agree with TMM about electric is that it is so fucking hard. It's so hard to launch punish with electric. That is something I will 100% agree on. Like, when I play Kazuya, fuck that, I'm not trying to launch punish nothing. Playing Kazuya, it has opened my eyes to the amount of privilege I have when I play Lee Chaolan.
So there you go. He's a fan of the character. He's played him for a good while now. He's got like 3,200 games played with Kazuya, and he has a valid opinion on the character now. Something that he has actually gone and tested and come back with his own results. So that's how you figure out whether a character is difficult, or how to play a character, or anything like that. You pick up the character, you spend a while in ranked, you get 1,000 matches with them, and then you decide, okay, well, is this character easy to play? Is he hard to play? Well, Miirio's got over 3,000 wins or 3,000 fights with the character, and he says he's extremely hard to play, and that 15 frame launchers that are easy mode, like down forward 2 and shit, are very privileged. To have that stuff, it is a privilege to be able to just launch with a hop kick from a sidestep whiff punish, right? If you sidestep somebody, you have to electric. And if you drop it like I just did there with the down 2, I'm fucked. Like, down 2, I accidentally whiff instead of I getting this. You know? From a sidestep, I got a sidestep, whatever the fuck they're doing, you know, perfect time, and then I immediately go for a launch. And well, there's the other problem is Kazuya's consistency. We'll talk more about his consistency in a little bit, but in all I'm saying is Kazuya requires that you do an electric to launch the opponent from a whiff. And he doesn't have an easy thing to go back on, to fall back on, that's going to give the damage that most characters will get that have easy mode launchers. You can do this, but that's it. That's about as good as you got. That's as good as it's going to get with Kazuya, unless you're willing to go for the electric. And you're never going to launch punish somebody with the electric. You're never going to. It's fucking ridiculously hard. So he's got no standard launcher that can just throw fucking, you know, you can just do at -15. You can try to electric, but it's fucking hard to do. You know, you can't buffer the move, so the inputs need to be done exactly when you see the move, and block it, and then you get to electric. It's really fucking hard to do. I've been practicing electrics for 18 years now, and I play on pad, and I probably shouldn't, because these controllers are fucking garbage. But I don't want to reteach myself Tekken, so I'm just gonna play pad and suck it up, right? That's the way. I'm doing okay with Kazuya. I don't really play ranked all that often. I still manage to get Tekken God, and I'm pushing Supreme, so it's really not a big deal for me that I have to play on pad. But I'm also well aware of what I've chosen here. I've chosen a shitty controller. I've chosen an extremely difficult character, right? and I am willing to put in the time to play this character. The thing about Kazuya players that are lower level, you guys like to complain a lot about how hard he is, and you need to stop that, because there are millions of videos online detailing how difficult Kazuya is. I've got a Kazuya, how to play Kazuya guide. You can check it out right here if you want. It's the button. So if you want to play, if you want to learn how to play Kazuya, check out that video, and you will find out very quickly that he's extremely difficult to pilot at every single level for different reasons, right? Very different reasons. The low-level players, it's mostly execution-based. You're not going to be getting electrics until you're, you know, at least purple ranks. And you really do need to practice this shit. Spend hours in practice mode learning just the electric, which is shitty, because instead of doing that, you could be doing things like, oh, I need to learn how to punish, you know, instead of that. So, it's punishment. That's the biggest thing. These fucking moves right here, huge for your fucking punishment. You need that shit. You know, long-range punishers, you need to learn your punishment. You need to know how to Korean backdash cancel. You need to figure out how to get timing, develop timing. You need to understand how to poke properly. What moves your character has in his repertoire that is very valuable in the neutral that you could throw out as a potential move that would help you in the match. These are fundamentals in Tekken, just the basics fundamentals in Tekken. But instead of learning all that stuff, you're in practice mode learning electrics and wave dashes, because you want to build up that execution in the muscle memory. Great, you've got awesome electrics, you've got awesome wave dashes now. You're stuck in orange ranks though, or yellow ranks or red ranks maybe, because you've spent all that time learning that stuff, but you've spent no time learning Tekken. So low-level Kazuyas have it rough for that reason. Mid-level Kazuyas, like purple ranks, blue ranks, you know, Tekken King, mid-level Kazuyas, even Tekken Emperor I would say, they also struggle. There's data on this online. Tekken Emperor and below Kazuya players have the lowest win rate of the entire game, of the entire roster, because Kazuya is very hard to play. And he's hard at that level because he doesn't have any neutral. He's got no decent neutral. From this range, his neutral is pretty good. It's not bad. It's not pretty good. He's got electric. He's got the devil fist to keep them out, and he's got his jabs. That's about it. And down forward 4 for a poke, but it's trash, right? Down forward 4 minus. Well, let's take a look at his frames real quick. I want to let's just check out his fucking frames. So down forward 4 is -9 on block. Down forward 1 is -7 on block. Back 2 is -8 on block. These are all moves with Kazuya that are his fastest pokes. -9, and if you do the whole string, even if you delay it, it's -15 on fucking block. -15, and guess what? If you hit them with it, it's -4. So your turn's still over. You've got a little bit of damage, but your turn's over, and it's -15 on fucking block. It's ridiculous, and that's the best he's got. That's all he's fucking got. So you got to stick with other moves that will help you in the neutral, which means you need to learn not down forward 2. That's a decent counter hit tool, but it's not something I would recommend throwing out of the neutral. So at mid-level Kazuya, up to about Tekken King, Tekken Emperor-ish, you need to learn electric, and you need to learn how to incorporate down back 4, and you need to learn how to incorporate forward 4, and your spacing with jabs, and how to move around the opponent. It's a completely different game with Kazuya, because in Tekken 8, aggression and poking and neutral in your face, that's the name of the game in Tekken. And in Tekken 8, and in Tekken 8 with Kazuya, he wants to be around this distance, he wants to keep you out, he wants to eventually go in and try to electric, you know, if he's able to, and go in with an electric and hopefully get a launch, or, you know, dash block. You know, that's what you want to do. You want to go in with electrics, you want to dash block, you want to move in and sidestep out of the way, just in case you've got a feel for their timing now. Like, that's Kazuya. So you have to have extremely solid fundamentals to bring him up to the higher ranks. And then once you're in the high ranks, Tekken God and above, and you're playing tournaments and shit, Kazuya becomes hard for a different reason again. He's got a very simple game plan, so everybody understands the matchup, everybody understands how to approach Kazuya, how to beat him. Very, very simple game plan to beat Kazuya. Sidestep and sidewalk left just kills the character entirely. Sidestep left into block, or sidewalk left, that shit just kills Kazuya. And then mashing fast strings in his face. You know, Kazuya has no fast strings, but you know what I'm talking about, you know? Moving around Kazuya, mashing in his face. There you go. You've beaten the character pretty much. You know, use your pressure tools so that he has no choice but to respect you, and then poke the shit out of him. Right? And move left. Move to your left. That's very, very crazy counterplay. And because Kazuya is so susceptible to counter hits, because he's got all these fucking moves that are so slow to come out. Like forward 4, one of his best mids. +4 on block, forces crouch, but it's 19 frames to impact. 4-4-3, same thing. 4-4-3 is 21 frames to impact with the forward included, right? Then you've got Devil Fist, another fantastic move. 4-4-2. -9 on block, but again, 17 frames to impact, 16 plus the forward input. Down back 4, another move that's really good for Kazuya, 20 frames to impact. Patricide Fist, 27 frames to impact. Fucking 27 frames. If you're quick. Down 1+2, in my opinion, his best mid. Or, sorry, his best low. Yes, better than this shit. Because if this gets blocked, you die. Look at that, -23. So, Hell Sweep is good, but again, slow, requires execution, comes out around 19 frames, maybe 17 if you're, or 18 frames if you're really quick. Usually, Hell Sweep is going to come out at about 19, 20 frames, though, typically. And even the electric, it requires some execution and a little bit of time. You got 15, 16 frames normally for most players to get the electric out in the neutral. These are all super slow moves. Down 1+2 even. -14 on block, but it's also 23 frames to impact, so extremely slow. And in fact, that's the very, very tip of reactable. That's the very last bit of reaction. Like 23 frames. 22 frames, 99% people can't react to that. 22 frames is way too fast for most people in the world. We're talking biology right now. Down 1+2 is 23 frames, so it just hits the cusp. If you're really sharp, a lot of players can react to this and launch you for it if they play Jin or Lee or June or Raven or Kazuya. So, because of that, that's a dangerous move to use against a chunk of characters in the game. But even still, a lot of characters in the game get really hefty punishes at -14. So you're still going to eat some big fucking damage for trying your best low. So that's a bit of a bitch, right? That sucks. He's super fucking slow, but the other thing is consistency. The reason he's so difficult at high level play, is the consistency factor, and that he doesn't really have any panic tools, right? So here's another clip from Miirio that I want to share. Check this shit out.
The main difference I see when playing Kazuya versus Lee, with Kazuya, it feels like I have to be playing defense 24/7 because there's not a lot of bullshit other than the raw 50-50 that he gets. And you only really get the raw 50-50 when you've got a knockdown or you punish something. Every character has some ridiculous heat bullshit that you have to like focus so hard on blocking and stuff. And I would say, yeah, with Kazuya, you have to concentrate a lot harder on defense because it's your only tool to win, really, other than the 50-50 bollocks. He doesn't get to mindlessly... it's hard to explain, man, because when you play against Kazuya, it's like he's doing nothing except 50-50 and it's bare jarring. But then when you play as him, or when I play as him at least, it's like I'm not allowed to do anything, and oh, please don't hit me, please stop pressing buttons. Like, I have to beg man to not press buttons on me.
But it doesn't have any panic tools. The heat in this game is insane, so you're just blocking most of the time. You're forced to just hold back because that's the name of the game with Kazuya. And finally, say you finally get an opening. You finally get that opening. Maybe you earned that fucking opening. You've blocked their shit. You've lost a shit ton of chip damage, health. You know, you've got a ton of gray health left. You're finally able to get an opening, so because you got that perfect sidestep, and then you whiff a down 2 or something instead of an electric. Now you're fucked. That's the biggest thing with Kazuya. You just took a shit ton of chip damage, blocking all goddamn day. You finally got your opening because you're good with fundamentals, and you moved out of the way appropriately. You got the sidestep right, or you ducked the string or some shit. Now you need to launch. If you duck something while standing 2 or twin pistons, cool. But if you're sidestepping something, you can always whiff a down 2. Or you could get the slow-ass wind god fist. Or you could get a down forward 2. Or you could just get a 2-2, you know? So, like, the consistency factor. If you don't get an electric after a sidestep on a hard read, you got no easy mode bullshit to fall back on. And that lack of consistency is the reason he's not picked very well or very often in tournaments by anybody other than Keisuke. And it's the reason he doesn't win any major events. His consistency factor fucking kills him more than anything else in his gameplay. His consistency factor. Because once you reach the level that I'm at, or that other higher level Tekken players are that main Kazuya, execution's no longer really a problem, right? You do have to warm up. You always have to warm up in quick match. I'll go into quick match and I'll play like 10, 20 matches there, and I will get fucking wrecked for the first 10 matches. And then after that, I'll start finally warming up a little bit. And then if I feel like it, I'll play some ranked, right? But it takes a while for you to warm up those hands and that execution. And once you've got that shit warmed up, I mean, even Joka, he straight up said I couldn't use Heihachi in tournament because they didn't give us any time to warm up. Heihachi is a Mishima. He's almost as hard to use as Kazuya is. He requires warm up. You need wave dash pressure. You need electrics with Heihachi. He's got easier things to fall back on. He's got some serious damage with his combos, even if you get the shitty combos with Kazuya. If you get the shitty combo, this is what you're looking at. You know, that's 70 damage with a counter hit, but you're looking at about 66 damage ish normally with a single electric, or if you wave dash and you're slightly off axis or something like that, right? So you have to switch to the shitty damage combos. Heihachi gets 70 to 80 damage, no problem, even if he's off axis. So his consistency factor is slightly higher than Kazuya's, right? That 20 points of damage can mean you've won the match or you've lost the match. It really can, a lot of the time. And if you can't warm up with the character, you're pretty fucked. You can't use him in tournaments. You don't need to warm up if you play Fang. That's why Joka chose Fang in tournament, because he's an easy mode character. You don't ever need warm up to play that guy. You always need warm up to play Mishimas, especially Kazuya. He's pure execution. Everything about this character is execution. But that's not the problem. It's not a problem when you're at a high level. You shouldn't be bitching about your execution being difficult if you're a high-level Kazuya player. That's what you signed up for. You're well aware of what your character is, right? So why the fuck are you bitching about how difficult he is to play? That's par for the course, man. You've chosen the hardest character in the game to play, so fucking deal with it and, suck it up and take your licks, even if they're not your fault. It's Kazuya's fault, which is, again, your fault for choosing the character. It's not my fault that I only really have fun playing Tekken when I'm playing Kazuya or Mishimas in general. I kind of just like their style of play. I don't really like any other characters because they're kind of boring to me. I like the execution requirements and I really enjoy electrics. So sue me. I don't get that with other characters, so I don't really play anybody else. But I think that it's wrong to complain about a character that's difficult when you know how difficult the character is. So everybody complaining about Kazuya, I don't care if you're a beginner, I don't care if you got a destruction. Stop bitching about how hard he is to play, because you already fucking know how hard he is to play. If you're bitching about how hard he is to play, choose a different character. Simple as that. I would never complain about how difficult Kazuya is. That's the reason I picked him. He is the hardest. I wanted to know, what's the hardest character to play? Kazuya. Okay, Well, let's play him then. Oh shit, this guy really is fucking crazy hard. Alright, well, 30 years later, I've got some pretty decent execution. I've got some, 18 years of electric experience and wave dash experience. And despite playing on a piece of shit controller, like, these are not made for Tekken. They're terrible for Tekken. My misinputs are fucking abundant with these pieces of shit. But whatever, it is what it is. I'm doing pretty good with the character. You know, I know how hard he is to play, and I accept it, and I'm proud of it. Because it's a wonderful feeling when you beat somebody with Kazuya. You've genuinely outplayed your opponent, because Kazuya is harder than everybody else to play. So it's a great feeling. And that's the other main thing, the main reason I play Kazuya, is the fucking dopamine I get. After I fucking win with Kazuya, it's like dopamine central. I can't wait to beat the shit out of my next opponent. But it sucks losing, because a lot of the time you lose due to your own misinputs. Misinputs are a massive thing with Kazuya. One little misinput can cost you the whole match. One misinput can cost you the set, because if you're like me and you focus on your one misinput from 4 rounds ago, you're gonna lose the whole set, because you're still focused on that one misinput. Like, if I just fucking got that if I didn't get that misinput, I would have won that match, and then I would have been up 2 rounds by now, and it would have been fine, but he got the fucking last match, and now I've only got these 2 rounds, I haven't won a match yet, he's beating me in the set. You're still thinking about that while you're trying to fucking play the set. It's so infuriating. So that one misinput can potentially cost you the entire set for that reason, if you're that type of person, which a lot of players are, a lot of people are. It's hard to let go of the past when it's something that you didn't intend, and it really did fuck you over a lot. Like, it was something that should not have happened, probably would not have happened had you been playing Dragunov or Jin or some bitch-ass character like that. But you chose Kazuya, so it's gonna happen. Misinputs happen. So why is he hard at low level? Execution requirements, very steep learning curve for the character. Not a complex game plan, but everybody understands how to approach Kazuya, even in the lower ranks. So the 10 moves you're gonna use in the neutral are gonna get circumvented by your opponent's offense if they understand the matchup, which everybody does, because Kazuya is a legacy character, and he doesn't have that many moves to worry about. You're looking for Hell Sweep, you're looking for 4-4-3, and guess what? If you block the Hell Sweep, Kazuya dies. If you sidestep 4-4-3, you can launch Kazuya, Kazuya dies. Both those moves are super linear. So, very difficult to pilot Kazuya. Why is he hard at mid-level? Well, the lack of a neutral game. He has no neutral when you're in his face. He's got nothing. You have to just stand there, hope that a jab check will get you out of dodge, or you can try moving out of the way. You know, backdash, sidestep, duck under strings, that type of shit. It's very crucial to have those fundamentals in place. Don't even think about power crushing, because his power crush is ass. It's one of the worst power crushes in the game. You know, June's is pretty shit, but Kazuya's is like right there, as almost as bad as June's. It's fucking trash. No one's ever going to use the power crush with Kazuya. Everybody else seems to have a pretty solid power crush, but that's just not something Kazuya players do. Plus, in my opinion, power crushes are a crutch. They are not something that I think that any character needs. They're a very lazy tool in this game. Power crushes are extremely lazy. It's the laziest form of offense. If all you're fucking doing is armoring all day, it's egregious. I fucking hate armor moves in this game. There's too many of them. Too many characters have too many multiple good ones, and they're so spammable. And now they come out at 7 frames instead of 8 like they were in Tekken 7. Now they come out at 7 frames. So good luck trying to. That's a huge difference. That 1 frame that the armor activates in now is a big deal. It really is a big deal. So yeah, you're not going to be power crushing with Kazuya. You really have to rely on your fundamentals. And since he doesn't have a neutral. He doesn't have a neutral game where they're right in your face mashing. it becomes hard. You're forced to just stand there and block all fucking day and take all this massive chip damage. So it's really tough. And then finally at high level and pro level play, why is Kazuya so hard? Lack of consistency. He lacks the consistency that every other character has in the game. Even Devil Jin, as a Mishima, has an easy mode 15 frame launch with his cans that he can do as a whip punish. And that can guarantee Devil Jin some 80-something damage. Kazuya doesn't get that privilege. He can very easily drop that electric or get a simple miss input and get killed for it just because he requires execution in pretty much everything he does. So, the consistency factor, despite the execution not being a problem at high level, electrics become quite easy when you're locked in and you've got an opponent who's, maybe he's just trying to pressure you. Electric is not that hard of a move to do, and wave dash pressure not that difficult to do. But when in a high stress scenario, and when you just have a moment of butterfingers because you're a human being and it happens to everyone and there's nothing wrong and no shame in that. You shouldn't be made fun of for having a misinput or beat yourself up for having a misinput, but they do happen to literally everyone. Even Keisuke, the greatest Kazuya on the planet, drops shit all the time in tournaments with Kazuya. All the time. You see him fucking do this shit and this shit, down forward 2, all the fucking time. Just watch for the next time you watch a Keisuke match. Just see how many accidental down 2s he gets. Or down forward 2s instead of the electric. It happens all the time. Because yes, electric is easy to do once you've put in the time and you know how to do the move. But it's still very hard to do. It's a fucking just frame input. And it's a requirement for the character. You literally require a just frame attack just to pilot the character at a reasonable level. Just to play the character, you require an electric. You require a just frame. That's fucked. That is fucked up. It's a very unique concept. Heihachi doesn't rely on the electric nearly as much as Kazuya. Devil Jin, same thing. Not nearly as much as Kazuya. They have other tools that they can go to instead of the electric. Kazuya needs the electric. So, lack of consistency. If he was more consistent, if he had an easy mode 15 frame launcher, I'd be pissed. First of all, that's not Kazuya's identity. He's never had that. He has had that before. That's not true. He did have that in Tekken 5. And actually in Tekken 6 too, now that you think about it. But I don't want that back in the game. I like Kazuya better when he's this. It's much I much prefer this over the other bullshit. So, easy mode 15 frame launchers are for other characters, not Kazuya. So, anyways, here's another clip from Miirio that I really want to share, so check this out.
I think GM does kind of chat shit about Kazuya's easy, but he's not easy. I don't think he's easy. I think he's pretty hard. I think he's harder than Lee Chaolan, 100%. Because with Lee Chaolan, there's so much things that I never appreciated until I started playing Kazuya. The simple fact of, say for example, your opponent goes into rage, and then because of the mechanic of the grey health bar, they get health back to 60 HP or something. If they press rage up and you can't electric punish -15, they are going to live when you play Kazuya, because you're going to do down forward 1-4 as your punish and get 51 damage maximum, unless there's a wall behind them. But when you play Lee Chaolan, you just mash the shit out forward 3 and get a launch, and they're done, and the round's over. It's like, why is this idiot pressing rage up? So yeah, Kazuya, punishment is really hard with electric. You're not going to get any launchers unless you religiously practice that shit.
But yeah, he can't even really punish rage arts with a proper launch. But there you go. I mean, the guy has some serious experience with the character now. He decided to pick him up. He's got 3,200 fights with the character, and he's got a reasonable opinion about him now, enough that he can assess the character reasonably and fucking, give his valid take. Now, the people that are saying that Kazuya is easy to play, you guys don't fucking play the character. It's obvious. It's so obvious. Doing 50-50s is easy, but it's also very hard because you need to condition the opponent. How are you going to condition the opponent if you're playing Kazuya? If you're eating 50-50s, you suck ass. It's as simple as that. If you're constantly in the 50-50 vortex, stop getting knocked out. Stop playing into the Kazuya. Fucking take advantage of the fact that he's very easy to beat mash in his face with your crazy plus frame pressure tools and good pokes that Kazuya doesn't have, and move out of the way by sidestepping left into block or side walking left. You'll dodge forward 3, you'll dodge his hell sweep, you'll dodge his demon paw, devil fist, whatever you want to call it. You'll dodge forward 4, you'll dodge patricide fist. You'll even dodge electric. All the moves that Kazuya has that he wants to hit you with, sidewalk left will beat all of them. All of them. And he's so slow. All of his big moves, like I said a bit ago, they take forever to come out, so he's very susceptible to counter hit. So that's the other thing. Main things that are a character that has no counterplay is broken. Like Jin basically has no counterplay. No real counterplay that you can rely on all the time. Dragunov, same thing. Nina, same thing. Kazuya, sidewalk left, sidestep left into block. Very good counterplay. Mash in his face with solid pokes and pressure tools. Very solid counterplay. Make it so he can't do his shit. And the other thing is be very good at counter hit. Get the counter hit on Kazuya. Steve, Lee, Lily, Yoshimitsu, Reina. These characters are so fucking good. Even Lars. Lars is a really bad matchup for Kazuya because his fucking silent entry 2 actually goes under this, and it goes under this. It goes under that. It's crazy. So I don't really have a good move to hit Lars out of silent entry 2 when he goes into the thing. If I want to try to launch him, you know, I can't do electric obviously because it's a high. So I have to do something that's mid, but he goes under this shit. So for that reason, Lars is quite a difficult matchup for Kazuya, in that sense. I mean, they're neck and neck. They give each other a hard time, but it is quite difficult to fight Lars players that are very good at placing their shit, if you play Kazuya. So it's very effective to mash in his face and do your pressure tools, and counter hits are like Lee. Fucking horrible matchup for Kazuya because he's so strong with the counter hits, and he's got so many setups that the Kazuya player has to keep track of and make sure you know exactly how to swing with every single potential setup that Lee puts you in. That will then give Lee the opportunity to potentially counter hit you out of your offense. So all these little factors add up. And it's all the little details that really matter. You know, even little things like this. Like, take Kazuya's down 4, his generic down 4. I've got no fucking range on this shit. Right? So many characters have a really long range down. Even Heihachi has a longer range down 4. Lars, a long range down 4 that they can abuse. Kazuya doesn't have that shit. It would be so nice to just have this as a decent little move that I can throw it as a little poke when I want to finish off the opponent, but I don't have any fucking range on the damn thing. You know, so little things like that. Kazuya has to put himself in danger to potentially get the reward. He's a very high risk, high reward character. If he hits you, there's a good chance you're dead. But good luck hitting the opponent if you play Kazuya. So for GM, I know that he retracted his statement. He doesn't think Kazuya's easy, but he definitely thinks he's easier than he actually is as a character. There's no fucking way Kazuya is easy, I'm sorry. But he's way harder than Lee. He's much harder than Steve, Brian, Deviljin, Heihachi. There's just no comparison. Kazuya is by far and away, the hardest character in the game to play. Okay, it's just a fucking fact. Because of everything. If you don't believe me, then go back and rewatch this entire video. And on top of that, I do need to add that, yes, he's the hardest character in the game to play, but that doesn't mean he's necessarily super hard to play. Like, no character in Tekken 8 is very difficult to play. You can get away with doing 1-1-2 and his heat shit all day, and Devil Fist, and getting the hell sweeps as long as they don't block it. As soon as they block it, you literally die. Everybody launches Kazuya for 1,000,000 damage. Like, you know the wall carry and the wall combos in this game. They do a shit ton of damage. And Kazuya eats that shit all the time whenever somebody blocks this or somebody blocks this. You know? So you really do have to be careful. as a Kazuya player. You have to time everything perfectly. You have to space out perfectly. You have to make sure that your electrics are very clean and on point. You have to know how to conduct a hard read, which requires data and knowledge of the opponent. And observation, making sure that you're aware of their patterns. All of these things are pure Tekken fundamentals, and you need all this shit to pilot Kazuya at the God ranks. You do. And if you want to get Kazuya to the God ranks, you better start working on this shit now. You don't necessarily need all that with the majority of characters in this game, and that's a fact. So, is Kazuya hard to play? Fuck yeah, he is. Is Kazuya the hardest hardest character in the game? Fuck yeah, he is. There's not really any room for disagreement there. GM has put in his 2 cents. The main man's put in his 2 cents. Miirio's put in his 2 cents. This is play stuff that's struggling with him right now at Bushin, the Tekken King range right now. I'm sure she'll hit Tekken God with him, but it's going to be a bitch. And I think that, now I put in my 2 cents. You know, it's a shame that so many people have to be bitching about this guy all the time and say that, you know, he's super overpowered or he's fucking S tier, all this nonsense garbage. You can't be S tier if you have a shit ton of weaknesses that are so obvious and have extreme execution, lack of consistency, no 15 frame launcher. You know, you've got a great 50-50, the best 50-50 in the game, and that's it. That's your whole fucking thing. If you're not able to access your 50-50, you basically lose. Unless you're a very solid player. And so stop bitching about the 50-50. Every character has something they're really good at. You could be Shaheen, for fuck's sakes, who's amazing at everything. He's amazing even at the 50-50, on top of poking, on top of pressure, on top of fucking combo damage, on top of wall carry, on top of heat, on top of fucking homing moves. Safe launchers. He's got a guard break. He's got a gray health removing mechanic. Like, Shaheen has everything, and he pretty much has almost an identical game plan to Kazuya, except he can actually fight back in this game, and not just have to rely purely on movement and fundamentals. You can actually do other shit to then reverse the pressure on your opponent without a wall. Kazuya can really only do that with a wall. Not without a wall, he's fucked. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents. I hope that clears shit up. I always love talking about Kazuya. It's an absolute blast. I love talking about Tekken in general, but this is my boy. I've been playing him for 30 years, and I will never stop. Him and I, we grew up together. He's a part of me. He always will be. I don't just look at him like a character or in a video game. I genuinely look at Kazuya like an extension of myself. So, because of all the time and effort I put into the fucking character, I love this character. I love everything about Kazuya. I would never be upset about how executionally demanding he is. So, one last note before we end the video. Again, Kazuya players, stop bitching about how hard he is to play. You've made your fucking bed. Now you gotta lay in it. Or, if Kazuya's just too hard for you, then go choose a different character. There's no shame in that. Maybe you're not the kind of person who wants to spend 30 years learning one character. That's just who I am. Doesn't mean you have to be that way. So choose fucking anybody. If you still want to play a Mishima, but you want easy mode bullshit, go with Reina. But if you want, or if you really want super easy mode bullshit and free wins and a free God of Destruction, go with Jin. He's a walking free God of Destruction to any half-decent moron that knows how to play Tekken. He will get you to God of Destruction for free. If you're not God of Destruction with Jin by now, you fucking suck. So that's, if you really want to play a character that's easy, that's still sort of Mishima-esque, then play Jin or play Reina. But, you know, Kazuya is not that character. He's not for you if that's a problem. So, yeah, that clears. I hope that clears it up. So, one last little note, side note about my album now. My album is my music moniker is called Deep Voice Guy. go subscribe to the channel. Link is in the description. So I would really appreciate a subscription to that channel because I'm going to be putting the new album coming out really soon called Full Disclosure. It's coming out on February 1st. Pre-order date is January 25th. Album cover art is done by my beloved Cammy. Everybody knows Cammy, or you should know Cammy. If you don't already know Cammy, then you fucking should. She's a beautiful lady. I love her so much. And she's a super talented person when it comes to anything artistic. So she made the album cover. Check out her Twitch. I will also leave that in the link in the description down below. Yeah, check out the album. It's heavy metal, melodic vocals, heavy guitars, fucking massive drums and bass, some sick guitar solos. Some of my best work is on that album. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. So check it out when it debuts, February 1st, 2025. And it's on every online store. Just go to where Spotify is my preferred one, so check it out on Spotify. It'll be on Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, all that shit too. So check it out. But on top of that, I love you guys. I really do. I really appreciate all the support and all the kind words and how everybody's just been super supportive in the channel recently. It seems like I get attacked a lot when it comes to Kazuya specifically because I guess I'm the prominent with the main man, obviously. I'm the other prominent Kazuya main on YouTube. It's an honor to be that and to be recognized for that, but at the same time, I do get shit on a lot for it. So it's a catch-22, and I'm okay with that. I love it. It's fun. I get to be the Kazuya guy, and that's what I signed up for. It's what I'm happy to do. So, fuck yeah. For you Kazuya mains, keep playing Kazuya. Don't give up on him. He's very hard, but don't give up on him because the reward you get for playing him is so... It's next level, man. I love this character so much. So, yeah, I hope that helps. It was a fun video. Next time we're going to do a more educational video, maybe talking about Kazuya's bad matchups and his good matchups. Maybe something more fun like that, but also something that people can learn something from. So, anyways, stay safe, everybody. Much love. Like, comment, subscribe down below. Really helps me out in the algorithm. And that's it till next time. Keep rocking out and keep gaming.